Hi.
Alright, hello guys. If you're brand new to my channel, my name is Nikki and this is my book nook. Y'all, I am so excited because today I have another book haul for you. It is my birthday, or it might be in a few days. I'm not sure when I'm posting this. July 11th. I am officially 24 years old, which is a little bonkers, but honestly, I'm here for it. We are living life. We are having a great time. My mom asked me what I would like my present to be for my birthday from her and my dad, and I'm like, Mommy, can we just go book shopping? And she said she was fine with that. So a bunch of the books I'm gonna show you today are from my parents, but once I break the seal, I just simply can't stop. So I also did go and order myself a handful of other books from Amazon, some of the ones that weren't in stock at Barnes & Noble when we went, and just other ones I decided later that evening that I wanted. So yes, I just thought I would show you guys what I got, talk about it a little bit. I'm gonna try to give like a brief description of each of these books, but just a fair warning, I typically try not to find out very much about books before I'm gonna read them. I just want a general, very brief kind of synopsis, a little bit of a vibe, and the second I'm interested, I'm just like, okay, I don't want to know anymore. I don't like any type of spoilers, so I'm going to try to explain them to you, but if the descriptions are very like vague and not very descriptive, that is why, but I will try my best. So first up, I am so excited because I got the Heroes of Olympus series. The covers are so freaking beautiful. I'm so excited to read this series. Just a couple months ago, I finally finished reading / rereading the Percy Jackson series, and I had no idea that since writing that, Rick Riordan had like literally created an entire universe. There's like 4 series within the world of the Olympians now, and this series is like the next in the chronological sort of order, and this seems to be most people's favorite series of the series. I love Percy Jackson as it is, but it is a middle grade series, and this, from what I've heard, is like a little more of a YA, so I'm very excited for that. Like I said, like no issues with Percy Jackson, but like if we're gonna make it like a tad more mature, like I am not about to complain. So I'm super excited to read this. Literally anything Greek mythology, I love it. Next up, I stocked up on some books from my 2 current favorite authors. First and foremost, Penelope Douglas, man. I simply cannot get enough of this woman. Literally everything she writes, I'm just like, I eat it up. I love it so much. I've talked a ridiculous amount of time on this channel about the Devil's Night series. Just so good, and I've since then read a couple more of her books, and I'm just like, I need to read it all. Penelope Douglas and her books are very kind of like, you either get them or you don't. They're very spicy, they're very scandalous, oftentimes a little taboo, but honestly, like, if you just throw your feminism and your common sense out the window for the time that you decide to read these books, I promise you will enjoy them. She's literally so good. Like her storylines, everything about her writing is so like captivating. You literally forget you're reading a story. I'm obsessed with her. So first up, and honestly I feel like her most talked about book, is Punk 57. This is about a guy and a girl. They have been pen pals for most of their life. I think they got paired up whenever they were in elementary school. They have no idea who they are in real life, but they've kind of like formed this relationship over many years, and all I know is that when they figure out who they are in real life, they absolutely hate each other, and it's just supposed to be super good, super angsty, just like all of Penelope's books, and I am super, super excited to check it out. Next up, I got Birthday Girl, and so this book is about a girl that is in a relationship with a guy. They're pretty young, they're like 19, and they end up running into some money trouble, and they end up getting kicked out of their apartment. So they go to temporarily move in with the boyfriend's dad, and when the girl meets the dad, it turns out she has met him before. They didn't date, they didn't like hook up or anything like that, but they definitely had met and shared kind of like a connection at one other point, and like she had no idea that it was her boyfriend's father, and it's like, oh my god, and now they're all living under one roof and the boyfriend has no idea, and it's so good. I'm in the middle of this one right now. Actually, I started it yesterday and I literally have just been flying through it because it's just amazing. Obviously there's a bit of an age gap to this, but the dad had the son whenever he was like a teenager, so it's not anything like too creepy. He's like in his late 30s. It's not like some 65-year-old man like hitting on this 19-year-old girl, but it's just, again, tension, angst. I don't know what's gonna happen yet in this, but I just know it's like, it's already getting so good and it's going to be even better. And the next one, and the one that I'm honestly the most excited about, we have Credence. This book is about a girl. Her parents end up like passing away in some sort of tragic accident, and she has to now go live with her only remaining living relative, and it happens to be this guy that is her uncle that she's never met. He's not technically her uncle, like they're not related by blood, but he was married to her aunt, which was related by blood, and I guess the aunt has passed away, they divorced, something. The aunt is not in the picture anymore, but he lives in the middle of the woods with these two boys that I guess are his sons, but again, they're not blood related. But anyways, she goes and she's living with them in the middle of the woods, her uncle and her, I guess, her cousins. And all I know is that all three of the guys develop some sort of attraction to her. And I mean, she's like 18, so like, don't freak out. This isn't like anything too crazy, but I've just heard it's like, it's wild and it gets crazy, and my cat is in agreement. So I promise I'm okay, but I was so excited to read this book. It's supposed to be so good. Next, my other current favorite author, and probably going to be one of my absolute favorite authors of all time, Colleen Hoover. I got a few more of her books. I'm just at a point where like Colleen Hoover can do no wrong. Like literally every book I've read from her is just so good that I'm like, I'm not even reading the descriptions anymore. I'm like, I'm just gonna read them all. They're all like short, quick reads. Most of them are standalones. She just is really good at writing contemporary romance with some form of like crazy plot twist that just like stabs you in the gut, and it's just so good. So the ones that I got, first of all, we have Heartbones. This is definitely the book I'm gonna read next. I'm super, super excited. But it is about a girl that she basically lives with her mother. Her parents have been divorced, and like she hasn't had a relationship with her dad like most of her life. But her mom ends up passing away. And so she ends up reaching out to her dad saying like, hey, like, can I come and live with you? Doesn't tell the dad that the mom has passed away. And he's like, sure, of course. Like, so she goes and moves in with him, and I guess now he's like, in the time that she stopped talking to him, he's actually like pretty rich now. He like is newly married and stuff. And I know that she ends up like, there's a boy that lives next door to the dad, and they end up getting into some sort of like summer fling, and it's just supposed to be super good. So yeah, that's all I know about this one, but I know it's gonna be good because again, it's Colleen Hoover. Next, I got All Your Perfects, another one that is so talked about. I just know that this is basically like a double love story about the same couple we're seeing in the past when this couple first met, when they first fell in love, and we're seeing them now in the present day in like a failing marriage. Basically, they're going through really hard times, they're struggling with infertility, and I just know that this book is supposed to be like heart-wrenching because you're literally seeing them present day like not getting along, but then you're seeing when they first like fell in love, and you're just like rooting for them the whole time. And supposedly it has like a happy ending, but it's supposed to be so good. Again, like just so many people have talked about it, and I know it's gonna be great. And lastly, I got Without Merit. I really don't know much about this book. I know the girl in its name is Merit. If I remember correctly, she and her family are just kind of like living a lie. They live in this small town. Everybody thinks that their life is like perfect, but like behind closed doors, they're just like falling apart. It's a complete mess. And I know that she ends up like meeting this new guy, and he also like thinks just like the rest of the town that her life is perfect, but she's like over it. She's tired of living a lie, and she's like gonna break away from her family or something like that. Again, I don't really know, but it's Colleen Hoover, so it'll be great. Excited to read it. Okay, next we'll flip back to fantasy. I got a couple of one-offs of that. First, we have Caravel or Caravel. I'm not totally sure how you're supposed to say this. I've been wanting to read this book for so long now. My coworker and kind of book buddy has been raving about this for months, like since she first read it. First of all, the cover is stunning. All I know about this is it's about a girl that lives on some island, and like once a year there is this caravel that's put on, and it's like this big whimsical performance that people like get invited to come and watch, and it's kind of like interactive. People end up getting invited into the performance, and I guess there's like a way that you can win, and you can like win this amazing prize and like all this stuff. And it's just supposed to be, again, super whimsical, super cool, super like mysterious. I know she like shows up, and her like sister ends up getting like kidnapped, and she finds out that her sister is like the main event of the caravel that year, and like she has to like figure out where she is or something. I don't know. This is a whole series, and this is just the first book. The cover, I literally can't get over the way it catches the light. It's so pretty, but yeah, I'm super excited to check it out. Next, we have The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. I think that's how you say her name. This is a vampire book, a vampire romance. Literally my guilty pleasure in life is just the vampire genre in general. I love it so much, and I'm always looking for more. So when I heard about this book, I knew I really wanted it, and then whenever I got to Barnes & Noble, it was like Barnes & Noble pick of the month, and I was like, okay, fine, you sold me. So All I know about this is it's set in like the late 1800s in New Orleans. There's this girl, she has fled from Paris and she's now like living in New Orleans, and some girls are found like dead, and it just, I mean, obviously it turns out there's like vampires behind it in some way. I think it's like a vampires versus, it said something on the back about like an age-old war of creatures of the night, blah blah blah, so maybe some werewolves. I'm not sure what else is going on with this. I've just heard great things. So next we have The Wrath and the Dawn, which I didn't even realize until a few minutes ago this is by the same person that wrote The Beautiful, so I'm staying on brand, I guess. I have heard so much about this book just in the last few weeks. Like, I've kind of had it on my TBR for a while, but for some reason, like, so many people on TikTok and stuff have been talking about it. All I know is that it is about like this king that's like a horrible person. He ends up like, he invites women into his bed and a lot of times they end up dead by the morning, and this girl basically has like had enough of it and she's like going undercover. She's gonna go try to be like one of these girls, and she wants to kind of remain in the castle and I guess gain his trust and then eventually kill him or something. Like, I just know she wants to seek revenge, but I just know it's supposed to be an amazing like enemies to lovers. They kind of like over time start to bond, and she's there to like seek revenge and seek her wrath, but she ends up, I guess, kind of falling for him, and it's supposed to be like very beautiful and also very spicy and very scandalous and all the things, so it's gonna be a good one. And last, for the fantasy books, I got The Last Magician. I am super duper excited to read this book. It hasn't been super talked about, but one of my favorite booktubers, A Dash of Ash, she raves about this series. I know that it's set in New York, present day. There used to be people that had magic, but now like there has been a sort of force field like set around the island of Manhattan. So if you have magic and you enter the island, you're now trapped there. And if you try to leave, you lose all of your powers. But there is this girl that one of her magical abilities is she can like travel through time. So I guess what she does is there's like a certain organization that has set this like border in place, and I think they're called the Brink, or the border's called the Brink. Oh, I think they're just called the Order. Okay, so she ends up like, she'll go back in time to before the Brink existed to like steal artifacts and stuff. But so she comes up with this plan that she's gonna like go back in time to before the Order existed to find like their book with all their secrets or something. And it's just supposed to be super good. Like, I am a huge Harry Potter fan, so like anything like magical related, like I just don't feel like there's a ton of great series other than Harry Potter out there that revolve around magic. Like, I've just heard the magic system is super cool, super interesting, and yeah, even though it hasn't been highly talked about, I'm very excited to read it. And then lastly, I have a few like one-off romance books that I got. The first one is Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. My favorite booktuber is Steph Bower. Like, she recently read this book and absolutely raved about it. Her and I both are very like stingy with our 5-star ratings, and she like gave this a 100% 5-star. She loved it so much. It's about a girl and her mother ends up passing away whenever she's very young, so her dad ends up buying this lake house that they then go to like every weekend to kind of spend quality time together, get out of the way. One day when she's very young, she ends up walking to her bedroom and there's this boy sitting on the floor reading a book, and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, like people normally like aren't at this house, like I just come here to get away, my house is super loud. They end up developing this sort of friendship over a long period of time, and now we kind of fast forward to the present, and I guess they are no longer friends. She somehow like ended up dropping him and not talking to him anymore, and he's like, what happened to our friendship? So you're kind of seeing like back and forth, and I guess something crazy happened that made her cut him off, but now I guess they're kind of like developing a relationship present day. That's all I know, but Steph literally said that this was like such a good book, raved about it so much, and she recently posted a video called Friends to Lovers Books That Don't Suck. Normally that is me, like I am not a fan of Friends to Lovers. It is just not my thing, like especially like childhood Friends to Lovers, just because I'm like, I cannot relate, like I'm either into you or I'm not. It's not my thing. But I just read People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry, and I loved that book so much. So Steph literally mentioned this book right after she mentioned that book, and I'm like, okay girl, I trust you, I'm gonna try it out. And yeah, again, like another book that people don't really talk about, but I'm excited to check it out. And speaking of People We Meet on Vacation and Emily Henry, I got Beach Read. I specifically have been waiting for like the month of July to read this book. I was more excited to read this than People We Meet on Vacation, but I just happened to get that one first. That's just like the way it worked out. But this book is about these two writers. This woman basically, she ends up going, she's having a writer's block, so she goes away to, I think, a lake house. I've heard the title's a little misleading. It's more like lake read versus beach read, but anyways, she goes away to a lake house to write, and she ends up figuring out that next door is this guy that she went to college with, and they were total, like, they were both in like the creative writing department or whatever, and they were total like arch nemesises. Like, they did not like each other in school. They were always like competing with one another, and he is there because he also has a writer's block. So they end up deciding to like switch genres. She's a romance writer and I think he's like a sci-fi writer, so they end up switching genres and like writing for each other, but like he doesn't know anything about romance, so they end up like, as an experiment, I guess, they like go on little dates and stuff together. They like go hiking, and it's like, it's kind of like an enemies to lovers, but I've just heard it's super cute. And again, I love people we meet on vacation so much, so I'm sure that this will be amazing. Next, staying in the cutesy summer reads department, I got The Unhoneymooners. Why can I not say that word? I have literally filmed this clip 7 times. The Unhoneymooners, I cannot say that. By Christina Lauren, which I didn't even realize. Same author, so that's fun. This book, I've been so hesitant. This is another one I've been like hesitant to read. I was just like, I don't know, like it seemed like it would be like a little vanilla, but so many people have talked about it, so I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna read it. Again, people we meet on vacation, it's got me in a mood, so I am here to try it out. This is about a guy and a girl. They are both in the party of a wedding. She, I believe, is the maid of honor and he is the best man, and they're the only 2 people that don't eat from the buffet at the wedding, and the buffet ends up giving everyone food poisoning, including the bride and the groom, and they have this like amazing honeymoon that is non-refundable, and they literally can't go on it because they're like puking their guts out. So they're like, you guys go on it, enjoy it, have fun. We literally are gonna lose the money if you don't. And they do not like each other at all. Like, she cannot stand him, and so I guess they end up going on this honeymoon together, and they're like staying in like the honeymoon suite and doing all these activities. Like, there's this whole itinerary plan. So yes, it's another like enemies to lovers. I feel like that term is so overused, but yeah, lots of people have loved this and said that it's super cute, so I'm definitely gonna try to read it in the month of July because all the summer vibes. And the last book I don't have because it hasn't come in yet. I think it's coming in tomorrow. I got The Mistake, which is the second book in the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy. The first one was The Deal. I finally broke down and read that because, again, Steph Bower, man, she always talks about how that's her favorite series ever, and I was like, not into it. It was so freaking good. It's basically set at this university, Breyer University in Boston, and it's a hockey romance, which I guess is like a genre that people read. Like, it's seriously like there's a bunch of books within this genre, and it's very much like the Devil's Night series by Penelope Douglas, if you've read that, where it is like an overarching series, but really each of the books are kind of like standalone novels. So each of them focuses on a different guy on this hockey team and like a relationship that they have with a girl. And the first one, The Deal, I literally finished it yesterday, basically in one sitting. It was so good, I couldn't put it down. I loved it so much, so I immediately went and ordered The Mistake because I'm like, I'm here for it. But that is it, guys. That is all the books I got for my birthday. I'm super excited to have some new reads. I've been dying to film this. I had to wait for the last couple Amazon books to get in because like I want to reorganize my shelves now. Like, y'all know how it is. It's a great time. But yeah, I'm sure I will be posting reviews on pretty much all of these as I do. So if there's a certain one you're interested in, subscribe, keep a lookout. But that is it for me today. I will talk to y'all very soon. Bye.